What's up guys, my name is Breadbank and today I will be ranking all 52 guns within Modern Warfare. I'm going to rank them based on how good I think they are and how good their killing potential is. Warzone is not factored into this at all. This is only multiplayer, only, no Warzone at all. And pistols and shotguns are going to be graded based on how good they are close range since they have no range whatsoever. Starting off the list at 52, we have the Kali 6. They have no range whatsoever, and they're 2 hits, so they lose to the knife every time. They have good mobility. Coming in at 51 for similar reasons is the combat knife. The only reason they're higher is because they beat the Kali 6 every time because they're 1 hit. Coming in at 50, we have the Strela P rocket launcher. This thing is god-awful. And at 49, we have the Riot Shield. Next we have some of the launchers with the Joker at 48, the Pila at 47, and the RPG-7 at 46. Then we have the X16 and M19 at 45 and 44. They're both pretty weak and lose most of the time, but I think the M19 is a little bit better because it's a little bit faster. And then we have the 1911 at 43 because it's stronger than the other two, so it wins more often than the other two. Then at 42 we have the crossbow. It has the worst ammo capacity in the game and is still just too slow even with sleight of hand, and you only get 1 shot in a mag. And then we have the Dragunov at 41, which is the best gun if you want to lose every gunfight at every single range imaginable. Coming in at 40 then we have the Renetti, which isn't bad but has worse range than some of the other pistols, and the burst Akimbos got nerfed into the ground. Then at 39 we have the Origin 12, which has some of the worst one-hit kill potential you could have in a shotgun. And then at 38, we have the VLK Rogue, which would be unusable without the fire shells and has shockingly bad one-hit kill potential. It's way worse than it should be, or feels like it should be. Next, at 37, we have the Holger 26, which is one of the weakest LMGs you could make. There's almost no redeeming qualities about it, and it almost always loses mid-range. Then at 36, for similar reasons, is the SA87, but I think it's a little bit stronger, so I think it's better. Then at 35, we have the Striker 45, which is a far cry from the UMP 45 from MW2, and it is just weak. It's a 4-shot kill with bad fire rate and bad everything. It's slow, it's weak, it does nothing right. And then at 34, we have the M91, which hits like an absolute truck, but is so slow that almost 80% of the gunfights you'll lose just because you don't ADS in time. Coming in at 33 is the 357, which would have been a lot higher, but like the Renetti, it got nerfed into the ground, but it still has good range and one-shot kill potential. Then at 32 is the Fennec, which is absolutely lethal close range, but is pretty useless past 15 meters. Then at 31 is the R90, which is heavily underrated, but still loses to the Model 680 and 725 almost every time. Then at 30 is the PP-19 Bison, which is very good for rushing, but has pretty rough recoil for SMGs, and overall just isn't that great. Coming in at 29 then is the M13. This gun just does not do damage. I lose so many gunfights using it just because I get 4 hit markers and just get straight up outgunned. Next at 28 is the RYTEC AMR, which is really fun, but is just too slow in most circumstances for multiplayer, and it doesn't have the advantage that the HDR and AX50 do of hitting like a truck. It's just too slow. Next at 27 is the EBR-14, which is a semi-auto DMR. It's just too slow, even though it is really consistent with the 2-shot. It's just too slow and loses to ARs most of the time. And next at 26 is the SKS, which is basically the same thing, but is a little bit faster and has more manageable recoil in my opinion, which is why it's higher. At 25th is the FN Scar 17, which is really powerful but has pretty bad recoil compared to the rest of the ARs and is too slow close range. Then at 24th is the FR556, or the FAMAS, which is a really high and really good 1-burst potential, but if you have to shoot 2 bursts you'll most likely lose, so I couldn't put it any higher. Then at 23rd is the MG34, which shoots super fast, and if you can flank a spawn with that, you'll get an easy quad feed, but it's too slow in most engagements to ADS, and you'll lose before you even ADS half the time. At 22nd is the .50 GS, or the Deagle. It has very good range for a pistol, but loses to shotguns close range. At 21st is the Ram 7, which is again super underrated, has a very good fire rate and good damage for that fire rate, but it has pretty bad range, so it loses to ARs at mid-range and isn't as good as SMG's close range. Then at 20th is the HDR, which shoots absolute cannonballs, but is too slow for multiplayer and is really only good in Warzone. Then at 19th is the Odin, which shoots very powerfully, but is just, again, too slow. Even with the tac laser, it's just not fast enough to ADS. At 18th is the PKM, which is very good and consistent and easy to use, but like other LMGs, it's just too slow to beat ARs and SMGs most of the time. Then at 17th is the AX50, which in my opinion has the edge over the HDR because of its speed, even though it is less powerful. Then at 16th is the AK-47, which has pretty bad recoil, but if you can get that recoil down, you'll win a lot of gunfights with it because of its strength. At 15th, we have the Bruin MK9, which is very powerful and consistent. It's just not fast enough to beat SMGs most of the time. Then at 14th, we have the Uzi, which is buffed by the AE rounds, which increase the damage and range, and that definitely makes it better than what it used to be, which is the worst SMG in the game. Then at 13th, we have the Model 680, which is improved by the fire shells, but is here mostly for its ADS and its one-shot potential when ADS'd. At 12, we have the AUG. It doesn't shred as much as some of the other SMGs, but it still is more powerful and has better range than a lot of them. Then at 11, we have the P90. It has a laser beam for a fire rate, and even though it doesn't have great range, it still wins a lot of its gunfights just because of that fire rate. Getting into the top 10, we have the MK2 Carbine or Mark II Carbine. It has a very good one-shot kill range for how fast it is, and it can win a lot of gunfights at medium range against better guns. Next at 9, we have the Groff 556. It got nerfed pretty heavily during one of the more recent patches. It's still good, it's just not as good as some of the other guns I'm about to go over. Next at 8, we have the Kilo 141. It has good mobility, it has pretty good recoil, it's decently strong, it's the most average but good gun. It's just not as strong and not as good as some of the guns I'm about to go over. Next at 7, we have the CR56 AMAX or the Galil. It has very good mobility and recoil for how strong it is, and a lot of times it'll win the gunfights just because of how strong it is. At 6th, we have the Kar 98K. This gun doesn't hit marker as much as people complain about it doing. I think it's the best gun for quickscoping just based off its combination of ADS speed and damage. Then at 5th, we have the 725, the scummiest gun in the game. It is so dominant close range that I had no choice but to put it this high. Then at 4th, we have the MP5. Like the Groff 556, it got nerfed pretty heavily. It's still a good gun, it's just not as good as other SMGs or ARs. Getting into the top 3, what I believe to be the best SMG in the game is the MP7. Now that the MP5 got nerfed, this gun has taken over as the best SMG in the game, clearly. The fire rate is ridiculously fast, there's very little recoil. The only diminishing quality is damage per shot, but the fire rate makes up for that and then some. There's a blueprint of this gun called Bug Spray, and I can't describe this gun any better than that. It just shreds, plain and simple. Next at 2, we have the FAL. In its current state, this gun is busted. If you have a modded controller or a good trigger finger, you will just destroy people. It's taken over as one of the best guns in Warzone, and it is in multiplayer as well for its 2-shot potential and very good damage per shot. Coming in at number 1 with the single best gun in Modern Warfare is the M4A1. It's been this way since release. Infinity Ward doesn't seem to care about nerfing it. There's almost no bad qualities about it. It has good recoil, it has good damage, it has good mobility, the fire rate's pretty good. This was an easy decision for number 1. There's almost nothing that really competes other than when a gun is temporarily broken and then patched. Anyways guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you agree or disagree, please let me know why in the comments. If you could like and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. And anyways guys, thank you for watching.